Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Unofficial Ignition podcast. My name is Julia, and to be honest, I barely got through that intro because just look at this group that I have here. These are my amazing colleagues, the women of Enuda, and I wanted to bring them today into the spotlight. And you know what? Enuda is kind of unique, to be honest, in this industry because 8 out of the 11 members of Enuda are women, and we could not be more proud of that. So let's get right into it and introduce each other first, and then we can talk about some cool stuff. All right? So, I don't know, I guess let's start with Jessica.
Hi, my name is Jessica. I'm from Venezuela, but I currently live in Uruguay, and I'm a graphic designer. I studied graphic design, but here at Enuda, I do a little bit of everything. But mostly, if it's something concerning graphic design, I'm the go-to girl. So that's my intro.
Amazing, absolutely. And can I just mention your journey from graphic design to being a gold certified ignition integrator? Like, that is absolutely amazing. We have a whole episode on
Yeah.
that, and I highly recommend you go watch because this girl, chef's kiss. All right, thank you, Jessica. Can we hear from Ivana?
Hi, I am Ivana. I have a PhD in mechatronics, and in Enuda, I work usually on some projects where we have some more complex ideas, where we want to implement, for example, some machine learning algorithms, optimization algorithms, and so on.
Right, amazing. PhD in mechatronics. Like,
Yes.
do you hear that? That is absolutely amazing. All right, Grisbel?
Okay, so I am Grisbel. I am also from Venezuela, but I live in Spain now. And here at Enuda, I am responsible of talking to clients and try to understand what exactly they want. And then I organize like individual efforts and try to assign everybody something to work on uh, so they can exploit the best of their talents working with our solutions.
Amazing. Yeah. Grisbel is
Thank you.
actually one of the first engineers in Enuda. So she's been here pretty much from day one. And she's now one of our team leads. And she's amazing, of course.
Yeah. And then, I forgot to say I studied mechatronics engineering
Right.
and yeah.
Cool. Thank you. Karina?
Yes, my name is Karina and I'm from Ukraine, but currently living in another country. However, I would like to say that I'm responsible in Enuda for HMI design and building part and perspective. Also, I would like to add that my career in Enuda started from the accountant, but after I decided that it will be very good and fun to also know better what is it ignition actually. So I combine now two different profession in Enuda, and I'm really very happy about it.
Yeah. Another amazing journey, like from accountant to working in ignition perspective and doing it so well. Chef's kiss once again. Thank you, Karina. Dragana?
Okay, hi. So I'm Dragana. I live in Skopje, North Macedonia. I've studied computer science, and in Enuda, I work as a database developer and ignition integrator.
Absolutely amazing. Dragana is also one of our team leads, and she is our wizard in database. Rocio?
Yes, hello, I am Rocío. I'm from Spain, but I'm living actually in Finland. And I'm developing industrial solutions in Enuda and started to also work with the client. So yeah, I'm textile engineer and also have some studies in technical communication and technical documentation.
Yeah. Love it. Like from textile engineering and now learning ignition and doing such a great job in our projects. Amazing. Congratulations. Congratulations to all of you. I cannot stress enough how amazing you are, but I'm just gonna shut up now and let you talk about your experience. And I'm especially interested right now about how did you even get into tech? That would be my first question to you. And I guess we should start with Jessica, if you want.
Okay. Well, actually, I started with Enuda before it was called Enuda, and I solely did graphic design, like business cards and presentations. And then one day, Jan and Bettina just said, like, "Huh, we started collaborating with this engineer, and we're starting to use this new program called Ignition." And well, they said, like, you can take care of the graphic design part of the solutions, but eventually I started playing around with the coding and decided to dive deeper into it, and it was one trip journey because I couldn't look back. Like, it's so amazing what you can actually do with a little bit of knowledge in coding, because I don't consider myself as an expert, not at all. And it came, I mean, I had difficult times, but right now I feel very comfortable uh, evolving in this new world that has opened up to me. And basically, I was slowly driven into technology and engineering and programming and all of that world. I didn't even know what a HMI was before. So it's been an interesting journey.
Yeah, absolutely. Love that. We've talked about this before at some point, and you've told me that you're such a curious person and you love learning
Yeah.
stuff. And I love your determination to break into coding and, learn ignition and now be able to do what you so well do. Awesome.
Yeah, and I love it too.
You gotta love it. I mean, it is pretty cool. Ivana, let's hear your story.
Yeah, so for me, the path was more straightforward because that was my determination from the beginning.
Mm.
In fact, I think it was for me, it came naturally. I was always like a fan of mathematics, physics, and these natural sciences in general. And as I grew up, I was always going in that direction. And when I came to choose the field of studies that I want to do in my life, I went for engineering. I was kind of thinking about pure mathematics or some engineering, which I considered at that time like applied mathematics and physics and so on. And I decided that the applied things are more interesting and so on. And then why specifically mechatronics? Because at that time I thought like this is the area of the future. It is something that is coming, that is developing at this moment, and something I wanted to be a part of. And so that's how I started, and I'm still on the same road.
Right. Amazing. You found your passion and you went for it.
Yeah,
Love
yeah, I
that.
think so. Yeah.
Um, Also, on that note, may I ask how you decided to do a PhD in mechatronics? I mean, there's such a high level, and how did that come to fruition?
When I was studying, I was always wondering how it would be if I could stay in the academia world. I also have a passion for teaching and for research, and I think this PhD was kind of connected both with research area where I can explore some new paths, and as Jessica said, to learn new things every day. Like that is also something something that is very a part of me. I want to learn new things all the time. And also, I maybe I didn't mention I live in Serbia, and here, if we do a PhD, we are also uh, staying in the university as a teaching assistant, and after usually it leads to a career in the academia. and I thought it would. I found my place there, so I that's why I wanted to go for it.
Amazing. Congratulations.
Thanks.
Chrisbel, how are you?
Yes,
How
I'm
did
good.
you, yeah, how did you get into tech?
Um, okay, so it's not like I was born to be an engineer. To me, all the options were open. Um, as Ivana, I was good with some of my science classes, and yeah, when I was young. So, but um, it was more of a like a practical thing for me in my life. Um, I knew some people that were engineers, and they made some good money. So I thought, well, maybe I will make some good money too. But yeah, after that, I started my studies and I loved them. I studied in mechatronics too because I thought, well, this is the future, of course. And it actually is because it's been a long time since I finished my studies. Um, and then after that, I studied a master's degree in data science because it was also connected to mechatronics, so it's in the same
Mm.
line for me. And until today, I think I made a very good decision at that time. I had a lot of other options, but this is actually something that I enjoy very much and something where I can put my creativity on the table every day and have all these ideas and develop them. So for me, it's something that I actually enjoy doing.
Amazing. I love that. And I love the practical aspects of it. I mean, it's true. Engineering is one of the jobs of the future, isn't it? And
Mhm.
if you love doing it, then that's awesome. Karina?
Yes, actually, it was a very funny way, my way to tech, because I would say that all my life I like maths, and I didn't know before that actually I can use my brain in tech area. So I decided to get my accounting background because it's very close to maths, and I like these figures and I like to work with them. So I remember all this. Balance sheet, profit and loss. So I remember almost everything, and I can tell you in the middle of the night about figures, everything. But after Jan and Bettina said me, maybe you would like to try to work in perspective because we need somebody who can work in perspective as well. And I said, yes, why not? I can because I can everything. But it was not so good answer from my side. Uh, and Jessica actually was my first teacher, and I looked after her what she did, and I'm saying, "Oh my God, I never can do the same. I never can do the same." She's God of perspective, and she put in my hand the maybe main background truth, and after Matthias polished everything in my head. And with a little step, I built my own relationship with I not with, actually with IT, with engineering, and with tech. It was, how to say, not so easy way, but it was so funny and so interesting. And now I'm realizing accounting is really quite boring thing because everything should be done in one way and you can use different rules. But in perspective, actually, I can show what I can. And every time it will be something different. Every time will be something new. And also you have to learn and you have to meet every day with a new task, with new problems, and with upgrade your knowledge. So it's what it push me to be better tomorrow than I'm now.
Amazing. I love how you're so open to challenging yourself and learning more and more every day. And there are actually two things that I really love about your story. The first thing is about this awesome possibility that we have here in Enuda and that is part of the Enuda culture to have kind of like these unique paths or unconventional, uncommon paths for from accountant to working in ignition perspective, like Jan and Bettina just asked, like, would you like to do this? And there was kind of like the start of this. But the other part of that is Karina's determination and willingness to kind of go into the unknown and learn a completely new thing. And that's also super admirable and respectable. Absolutely love that.
And very important thing was also asked why all in this team doing something in this ignition and I'm nothing doing. So it was also like pushing me to learn something because I also want to be part of the team because of
Mm.
course I did invoices and payments and blah blah blah, but actually I wasn't a part of our real team. I didn't have a lot of meetings. I didn't have a daily to-dos. So I would like be involved as much as possible in the process, and it also was a good reason to learn something from ignition because to see from internal side what is it actually ignition.
Yeah, so you got a deeper understanding of
Yes,
also the team
yes,
and ignition as well.
yes.
Love that. Dragana.
So from early age, I have a passion for mathematics. And in high school, I was introduced to programming, which sparked my fascination with problem solving. And then in college, I decided for computer science because that for me was the perfect blend between math and programming. And I went for that without hesitation. So today, I believe I can say that my early interest in this field led me and prepared me for a career in tech.
Amazing. And the way you just said, I went for that without hesitation. Yes, we love that.
Yeah,
As you
exactly.
should. And it's amazing that you've done that.
Thank you.
Rocio?
Yes. So I have been always attracted to science and being curious about technology and how things work and are produced. And it's a bit different story from Dragana because when I was going to school, we didn't have computers, we didn't have all this possibility of programming, nothing like that. So it's another generation, and it was very slow process to get into tech. You didn't see it every day. You didn't have phones. So also in summer, I went with my father with his truck to factories to visit places and getting to see how they produce stuff and technical things and I always like it about technical subjects, and I wanted to study chemistry, but I didn't get to that, and it took me to textiles and always like this about technology. And then it came one point in my life, personal situation, that I was looking for new paths in my career. And then I was thinking, okay, so technologies, coding, all this is the future, and it's going to be work also in that. So I took some courses about digitalization, coding, and then after a while, uh, I did some projects, and I, by chance of life or lucky, I got introduced to Enuda, and here I am. So, so learning more about coding and ignition and all this industry and digitalization. So really interesting because I'm also creative. So it's part of it I can also put into it in the creativity side of it. So
Hmm. Yeah, that's actually amazing. I don't think I've known the entire story. So you got into tech, of course, but you've had a change in your career path, which
yeah.
I I assume I can imagine that it takes a lot of courage, and you have reached a level right now in Enuda where you're really doing some awesome work, and I think that's awesome. That's
Mhm.
amazing. And your story actually, I love that It kind of leads me to my next question, and I've just realized right now that I absolutely love the fact that we have different generations here, and I think that's relevant to my next question, which would be, what kind of challenges did you encounter in your career, and how did you overcome them? Jessica, do you want to start?
Yeah. So basically, my career is graphic design. So challenges, I wouldn't say I encountered much because graphic design is a very diverse world where there's uh, males and females, and everyone is studying it, and it's a very universal career. So I guess I had a pretty light run in that area, but when I started with Ignition, that was a pretty big challenge because even though there is some mild, very, very mild coding in graphic design regarding the websites and the possible apps, there is not a very, it's not as important as with programming. So I did encounter some challenges there. I remember when I did the certifications, I was pretty nervous, uh, but I always had the help from Matthias and Grisbel and anyone willing to offer their help regarding any questions that I had with work or with the certification. They always guide me through it. So I learned a lot by trial and error, and also by tutoring from my colleagues. So yeah, and I consider that with trial and error, like you really learn it, because then you remember the struggle you went through to get there, so you can never forget it, and you just jump right into the solution, like, okay, I did this the previous time, but what happens if I take it a step further? So yeah, I consider myself very lucky to have gone through the path that I went through, because it's very self-taught, and it just keeps on spending. So yeah, my career not as much, but with Anuda and everything that we did together, it was trial and error.
Yeah, absolutely. I love what you said about trial and error, really helping you to actually learn it. Or I would assume that it actually helped you really understand it, really
Yes.
understand what, like your work.
And not only understand it, but understand it my way, because
Mm.
yeah, I can follow instructions, but I'm not really like learning it my way. I need to, perhaps I'm not doing the steps correctly, but it works, so it's my way of doing it.
Right.
Yeah.
Love that. Ivana?
Yeah. So if we talk about challenges in the
Hmm.
career, I don't know. I wouldn't say I had some big challenges per se. Of course, we all have some daily challenges, some deadlines, things like that. If we talk just about work, but I think it's something that is normal in everyone's career, and uh, yeah, I think it's doesn't depend if we are women in tech or men in tech or uh, however we feel. But as a woman in tech, I would say that I didn't have like a challenge problem thing, but maybe some uncomfortableness that sometimes I'm the only woman in the room, or
Yeah.
especially
Loneliness.
when I was studying. Like we were in the first year, we were 80 people uh, in our group for mechatronics, and there were only 6 girls. And out of those 6, after we separated into like directed groups, and in my group there were only 3 of us, and all
Oh,
the
wow.
others were guys. So I mean, it is not a challenge or a problem, but it
Mhm.
was just kind of this feeling of loneliness, like we are somehow not meant to be here, but we are like a very small minority. And that is something that continues up to this day, like in different areas where we meet other people from different industries. There are usually a lot of guys, and sometimes you feel overwhelmed by that. So again, I wouldn't say it's a problem or a challenge. It's just something that you need to get used to because we are still
Mhm.
underrepresented group in the tech world.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. We're gonna come back to this. I have a question that really relates to that. I'm gonna talk about that.
Mm.
Um, Karina?
Yes, so I would say my way of career was pretty strange because somebody in my young age said me, if you want to be a good accountant, you have to do accounting for a lot of companies. On my first level education in the university, I decided, okay, I have to go to work and I have to make an accountant for a lot of companies, and I did it. And really, I received a really huge experience, and because I have to also do my bachelor degree uh, document, and I have to pass all prepare all documentation for my companies. And it was a very good challenge to uh, to have a really good skills and background in accounting. And what I can say is that if you want, you can do everything in this world. If you want to be good in accounting, you have to read, you have to practice, you have to have a lot of different companies to see the whole picture. You have to be a really good into details, and you have to know that should be some structure in some rules. So I would say in my mind, I have a really this my friends structure and organizing. And in my world, everything structured and organized. After that, we like sometimes after we moved to Lithuania, and I thought, okay, what I can do. So I will continue with accounting. And went to the local company, and also I did accounting for the Lithuanian companies. After I decided, if I can do Ukrainian and Lithuanian accounting, maybe I can do Scandinavian accounting. Yes, I can. And I decided so I will change this company and I will learn Swedish and Danish and Norwegian accounting. And I learned how to do this accounting. And when we met with Jan, Jan said, maybe you want to try ignition. And I said, yes, I can. I would like to try ignition. And and I didn't have some, how to say, some mind that I can't. Yes, of course it can be, but I had so a lot of inspiration and so a lot of motivation to try, just to try to give myself some time range to try, just to do the best what I can, and I will see what I got at the end. But it's also was I can say that it was difficult, but if you want, if you concentrate it, if you motivate it, if you practice, and if you have such a colleague as I have in my team, because what I can say when I come to the Enuda, like a world's database binding, coding, I'm sitting in my eyes were bigger, 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 and bigger. But I know that if I have a question with the database, I can ask Dragana, and I will receive a really super nice human world's answer. If I need asking something else, I will ask Crispel, and Crispel will explain me something. If I have another question, I can ask Matthias. And it's I would say that we are our colleagues, and we also help each other to be better. And it's also very important for me, and I'm appreciated to feedback from our team members, because we are not a competitors here. We are friends who help you to be better.
Absolutely. That was
I
such a cool story, and your determination is just so inspiring. Um, like, I think it's so easy for many of us to just have that voice in the back of our heads that said, "You shouldn't even try this. If you try, you will fail." And we do not try. We do not learn that. We kind of suppress our own curiosity. And you did the opposite of that. You went and tried and succeeded in so many ways, and you learned so much. It's just chef's kiss once again.
Thank you.
Amazing. Dragana, how about you?
Okay, so I'm someone who values reason and logic. So my most valuable or and difficult also lesson I have learned when I started working is that the world doesn't operate in the perfectly logical manner. But from that, I gained a lot of experience, and that actually made me a lot open and flexible. And today I can say that whenever I'm faced with uncertainty, I approach it as a learning opportunity because I believe that every experience, positive or negative, can teach us something. But on the other hand, about the challenges, I love a good challenge. I I believe everyone knows that here. I love to solve complex and abstract things, and every solve problem and beaten challenge gives me a rush of excitement, and I believe that drives me every day.
Wow, amazing. And I can say that personally, I can see that every day when when I think about you or when I look at your work. Like, you do love a challenge, and you go around asking for challenges, and then you absolutely rock them. It's always such an inspiration to see your journey as well.
Thank you.
Awesome. Rocio?
So yeah, for me has been a bit different path uh, because of my age, and I have not faced like really complicated or difficult obstacles. I would say I have been. I'm quite happy about the company I have been, and but of course, you, as Ivana said, like when I in my university, I was really small when I studied textiles, and all the teachers were men, and so it gives you the okay. So engineering, most of the people from that generation, they were all men studying engineering,
Hmm.
and then when I got into a company, luckily it was most of us were women, so I was surprised, and it was really nice. Um, but then even though it was women and this, but then you have to also value that, do I fit in this company, and does it really value you as you are and with your values? So I left that company, even though it was, yeah, with a lot of women, but I didn't fit there. So I leave the company. So sometimes in your life, you don't have to accept anything just not to lose your job. You have to really think more than that beyond the job itself. So uh,
Absolutely.
yeah, and I have been working also in the industry, automation industry, and most of them are men, like, from the top to the bottom, from the factory to the boss and the different departments, engineers. And it's intimidating a little sometimes until you get used to, and you brave yourself and say, no, no, I can talk with anybody. I was in the quality department, and I have to talk with different departments, and most of them are men, and I had less experience, so it's a bit intimidating, and you don't know. Also, I think also affects the culture, the environment, the country you live. All these things affects as well.
Hmm.
But yeah, it's still. I mean, it has changed a lot, and there are more women everywhere in tech and engineering, but still there is that part of the generation that is basically men, and it can be intimidating. It can be.
Hmm.
And then in Finland, my challenges, personal career challenges, has been like being a foreigner in a country that is really developed about tech, about programming and technologies and phones and everything, but it still has been a challenge to get into the market and be seen, and then they believe in me. So that has been a challenge in my career, and maybe it's nothing related to tech. It's just you know, cultural and backgrounds and stuff. But yeah, there are challenges for women. Depends on your path you go, and but yeah, we are progressing, and I'm really positive about it. But you need to be brave just to overcome them and think that you can do it, and you show, but it's that the challenge of that sometimes you feel like you have to show that you are capable of
Mm.
doing it as well as some other men or that. But I think if you are brave and you show that you can, and that they will see that, hey, we are the same. And but yeah, I have not had any negative experience, and everybody has respect me. And yeah.
Amazing. Rocio, you are brave. I love that. And I love your suggestion for us to be brave as well.
Thank you.
Grisbel?
Yeah, okay. So one of the biggest challenges for me was having to move to another country.
Mm.
Uh, let's get some context. I finished my studies and I went directly into the working area. I found a super cool job. I loved it. It was completely related to my studies, so I was, in my area. But then I had, well, life. Sometimes life makes you move to other countries. So when you do that, you have to start from scratch. So that's what I did. Um, and you have to start from scratch in a new culture. You don't understand how things are. Even, for example, for me, it's the same language, but still it's a totally different culture and working culture. So I stopped working, then I went back to study, and after 3 years, I found I found, or Jan found me, um, and everything started again. But I had to learn everything again, like the culture. Then I worked in another language, which is not mine. So those are challenges I will, or you have to overcome, or some people have to overcome. And for me, it's awesome. I think I grew a lot from that. I have a more open mind. I am much more flexible now, and I know how much effort it takes to get what you want, and how much you have to work to be where you want to be.
Yeah.
So I am very, very proud of that in me, and I know many people here have had the same experience. And other challenge was more or less changing a bit the career path. Not the career path, but what I was working with. For example, at the beginning, I was working more on the downstream side, like with PLCs
Mm.
and instrumentation and all of this, going into the sites and working with wires and my boots and my helmets and everything. So that was a super moved every day. And now I change to a more upstream part where we program solutions. We use different programming languages. So for me, I also had to learn new programming languages for that. But now I feel that I actually have all the all the knowledge, because I know from the bottom to the top of the automation of the automation system, and I like that. I really like that. Um, so yeah, and one of other of the difficult things is that, as Rocio said, back in time, some things were not so popular, like YouTube, or we didn't have so much or that many resources as we have today. So I believe that today is a really, really good time to go into tech. You can just watch a lot of videos in YouTube. There is a lot of courses. There is a lot of um, yeah, a lot of resources that people can use to learn, and it's something that should be like in your regular, like in your daily mindset, because technology is here, and it's the future. And I would say that society and everything is mostly focused on that. Of course, there are many other things, but we
Yeah.
can see that every day we have new releases for new technologies and new things to help us in our lives. So I think that is something that everybody should put in their life for every day.
Hmm. Yeah. I love that. That's quite a path, and like you said, it's so cool that you're so well rounded. I think it would be a good term for this, that you now understand from
Hmm.
PLCs and sensors and all of that on the plant floor to the software and data. And yeah, moving to another country, dealing with cultural differences, that's certainly a challenge. But you said that it helped you to become more open minded and more flexible, and
Hmm.
that's super cool.
Thank you.
Okay. So we are in an industry that is still very much male dominated. And well, I think, by personally, I believe that we are in a time, an era, in which women are maybe less reluctant to get into STEM, like science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. But like Ivana said, there's still a lot of work to do. And I'm curious, what are your thoughts about them, about that? Why do you think women are still reluctant to get into STEM? What is your message to them? And talking specifically about this industry, what do you think should change, or what is your vision for the future of this industry in general, of course, but also in regards to this tendency of this industry being male dominated? Jessica?
Well, uh, fortunately for me, I never experienced like that mindset of women shouldn't study this or that because, well, I personally didn't experience it. I know that for a fact that if I wanted to be an engineer and I said that to my family, they would applaud me and let's get on with it. But I think that thankfully that is changing a lot. There's no this is for women, this is for men thinking. It's kind of fading out because, well, new generations are very equal in that regard. So I would say that uh, other than from a gender uh, point of view, I would say that anyone that feels like they want to embark in a career and are feeling insecure or doubtful that they can pull through, I would say that go for it. The worst that can happen is that you see that you failed, and well, that's a learning experience as well. So you didn't actually fail, you just it's not up your alley. So it's good to know what you're not capable of doing as
Right.
well. So um, just go for it. And in regards of how the industry sees us as women and going into this technology engineering path, yeah, there's an old mindset that says like, well, perhaps a woman is not as trustful as a guy, but um, I think that when we manage to get women to a level of in the hierarchy, top level, things will change. Not only because women will take more into account the struggles of other women and try to make them feel welcome, but also to teach those um, old-minded guys that look, a woman could pull through and is in um, a level of power that rivals your own. So let the actions speak louder than words, I would
Yeah.
say. And yeah, like most of you said, it's pretty it takes a lot of courage, and we need to be brave, not only us women, uh, all people that are embarking in a new career or a new path in their life. um, we need to be brave, and progress is not linear, so a lot of failure is expected, but it's also an opportunity of growth. So yeah, it can be frustrating, but it will pass, just as everything passes. So I think that we need to keep pushing on. And that's my message, like, go for it.
Amazing. I love that. I'm just gonna leave it at that. I think it's awesome.
Thank you.
um, Ivana?
Yeah, first I have to agree with Jessica with what she said. I think it's such an important message that, like, if you fail, well, that's it. You failed, and you can try something else. Like, it's not for you, and you shouldn't be afraid to try new things. Like, that is so, so important in this account or another. It's so important to be aware that it's not a your failure. It's not you are the failure. It's just this is not something you like, and yeah, you should go with it, or go with something else. About this reluctancy of girls to enter into the tech world or in the STEM area, I would say that it is still like a cultural thing that we raise girls that they are not should, but they are supposed, or I don't know, they would be more welcome to follow some traditional female paths. Like even as I have kids, and I see that from a very young age in kindergartens and with mm, playing with other kids, they learn these gender roles very early. Like,
Mm,
this is for girls, this is for boys, this color is for girls, this color is for boys. Now I don't know, this cartoon or a game or whatever. And that is something that really profiles them to follow a certain path. And girls are traditionally not following the STM path. They are more like going to be a nurse or a doctor or a teacher, something like that. And like, these are the traditional areas where women tend to go, and not in the, especially not in the engineering world. And I think that needs to change. I think we need to start from the beginning to teach young girls and young boys that they can be anything they want. And also, as parents, to allow them to explore all the possibilities. I think it is equally important for girls and for boys, because even sometimes it is more difficult for boys. Like, let a boy play to be, to be a cooker or to clean the house. It's even worse than letting a girl play with cars. Like, I think it goes both ways, not just for for girls. And as we grow up, or as the new generations grow up, I think that we need to uh, point out at every occasion, like in school and in everywhere where we can, to influence them that yes, all the careers are equally, you can be good, equally good in all the careers, in any career that you choose, everywhere where you feel that your talent, your knowledge would be of use, or even something that is really interesting for you. Like, you can be whatever you want, you can learn whatever you want, and you can fit in your career. Also, in our specific area, like in the industrial world, I think it is still a problem that people have this image like this is a dirty industry where you have some heavy
Mm.
machinery, you have some physically challenging tasks that you need to do. And as a girl, you will rather choose something, I don't know, maybe less dirty or something that doesn't involve your physical strength. And you would rather do maybe an office job or something like that. And I think that this idea also needs to change because modern factories are not at all what they were like 50 years ago.
Mhm.
As I think most of us had a chance to see once or multiple times that they don't fit in this image that we have. And also you don't have to be on the shop floor as Grace Bell was with her helmet and boots, but even that is not it's not something that is not possible for a girl. And but you can also do some other things in engineering, especially if you are dealing with software as we do in Enuda, where you you sit by a computer as any other person and you program your coding or designing, or you do these things that don't involve any of your physical strength, or something that's where you could actually be weaker, for example, than a
Mm.
guy who can lift maybe 50 kilos and you can't, something like that. But if we talk about your mind, like, yeah, you can do uh, whatever you would like to do. So I think that we need to focus maybe on this image that it doesn't have to be something that is not appropriate for a girl, or something where you wouldn't fit in or where you wouldn't feel comfortable. And yeah, I think the problem is from a very young age that it needs to be somehow systematically done to raise this culture that we can equally be good in different jobs. Yeah,
Yeah.
something like that.
Absolutely, you're so right. I honestly fully agree with everything you've said. And it's such an important insight and observation that you just provided us as a parent. Like, you could see this from such a young age, like the gender roles that kids are still being pushed into, I guess. And
Mm,
I honestly can't help but think of your kids and how lucky they are, to be honest, to have parents that are so open minded and that can see this kind of thing. And instead of assigning them to any of the gender roles or the characteristics or the traditional path of each gender, you're instead empowering them to find their own way. They can do whatever they want. And we need more kids like that and more parents like that in each generation.
yeah, thank you, Julia. And I think it is also changing. Like
Mm.
when I was studying, we were just a few girls in our group, but now I see more and more girls entering university. So I think this is also something that is changing, but maybe slowly.
Yeah, I agree. Dragana?
Well, I actually totally agree with Ivana. Parents and specifically elementary schools have the biggest influence on young children. And I believe that's the place that we need to focus. And we definitely need a system for that if we want to see change. And on the other hand, hard work and dedication always leads to something great. And that's my message for all to just keep going.
Mm.
But for the other question that you asked, what is basically my vision for the industry that we work in? So my answer is not specifically connected with women, but in general, it's connected with artificial intelligence. So In recent years, we've seen a rapid rise in the use of AI in various industries. And as this technology advances, I am convinced that the use of AI will become more integrated into the industrial space, and potential applications of the AI for the industrial space are large, and I do believe that in the future, basically the industrial space will be more open to the use of AI, and as this technology basically rises, we will see more and more developments in this field.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I mean, we see AI penetrating pretty much all markets. I see it in marketing
Yes.
as well. We're all very um, kind of divided, to be honest. Some are super excited about AI, about how humans can use AI to, do things faster, be more efficient, and all of that. And the other side is kind of like, oh my God, AI is gonna replace me. It's it's the whole thing. Lucio?
Yes, so yeah, I agree with all my colleagues. So, and I think women are every year and every less reluctant to get into STM. I think it has changed a lot in the last years, and because it's more available, technology is more available for everybody, and is in your everyday life, and so I think women have more possibilities and can be attracted by it. But I agree with Ivana that some cases, because of the history, the culture, the education, it affects a lot on that, and that's where we need to do a lot of work for the future, especially in education. With education, I think, and living in Finland, that is one of the top countries about education in the schools, that still happens those things as well, like they in the when they are really small, and that they, without realizing, you tend to push the girls to do more of these things or play these kind of games. But then when they go to school, like you see, like, they like Dragana, they have already programming in the school, and it's for all of them. So all of them nowadays, they have more possibilities to access and see and get to know technology and say like, okay, maybe it's my thing. And but of course, parents has to be also, example and supportive and everything. But I have a positive view of the future, and women get more the message that you can be brave and you can try, and you can, just forget what they have told you, and try and be more open-minded to all these things. So I see that's my vision.
Yeah, amazing. And I love that it's a positive and optimistic vision that we are on a path of progress. And I agree with it. Love it. Karina?
Yes. So what I want to say about my vision on these questions, I would say that the modern society like embrace border between men or women professions, and we can choose now what we prefer, and actually everything now depends on us. So if you prefer to choose something in tech area, please, you're very welcome. And I would say that now all modern parents also try to grow children and explain that no any specific man profession, no any specific women profession. You shouldn't stay at home and cook all the day some food or like looking for kids. So I would say that it's old vision of the life, and now we are all can be free in our choice. And I would say that normal society will support the women with their choice. I would say so. And also, I would like my message to all women that don't be afraid with your choice. Don't be afraid of your dreams and choose something not ordinary for the society. And
Mm.
I would say that it is your life, and don't spend time for something that you don't like actually.
Yeah.
And from another side, at least I'm mommy, I'm accountant, I love baking cakes, and I also like industry, engineering. So I would say all these roles perfectly together, and the same probably with the other women.
Yeah, absolutely.
And about this industrial space, we actually live in the different industrial revolutions. So first one, second, third, and fourth, and so on. So I would say that technology, it's like an age of technology, and everything with technology now. If we thought that like agriculture, the people who work with the land, say don't need to know agriculture, don't need to know technology, but no, I would say that all industries, all our society has have a contact with technology, and this technology around us, and I will say the technology will more and more involve us in this area.
Hmm. Yeah. So together with the technical development, to say so, it's kind of we also have a progress in mindset or a change in mindset
Of course,
that also involves this social part of women in tech and in this industry. Again, love the
exactly,
optimistic view and the path of progress. Um,
exactly.
Crisbel?
Yeah, so I believe that women are not that reluctant with science, but maybe they're not that much interested. And I don't want to sound like, oh, women are not interested. So, no, it's not like that. But I mean, it seems to be something for boys. I don't know why, but when you go into a classroom with 30 people and three are women, it seems to be something for men. Um, but then, uh, in my opinion, or what I would say to everybody is that if you like technology, just go for it, as Jessica said. Keep in mind that the competition, or your competition, or maybe you are competing with yourself. That's very important to say, because you are not competing with 80 men. You are not competing with the other three ladies. You are competing with yourself, because after the career or the studies ended, and everybody will go with their lives. So it's basically you competing with yourself, and that's important, because you will find your place in the world. Uh, but it's not only technology. I mean, it's a mix. Your personality, your background, where you live, your studies. So it is a mix that will put you somewhere in the world. And as Karina said, and others have said, you don't have to do something you don't like to do. So if you are working in something you don't like it, just go for something else. Of course, that sounds very like happy flower world. Sometimes it's not that easy, but still, I think if you have in mind that you have to develop yourself, and that's the most important, then you will find your place in the world. And in the other hand, I think this lack of interest is because there are not many role models. We were talking about schools and when kids are young, but also when women are in the university, there are not that much role models um, of other women in technology, and that's changing a lot in the recent years. So basically, doing this podcast is something that will contribute a lot to this,
Mm.
to show the world that we exist and we are here. Um, so we also have to change that and give women in tech more visibility. Um, Not because we have to be better than men in technology, just because we need to have more visibility because we don't have that much. And for the last question about what you would like to see in the future, I am very interested in mobile applications for the industrial world, for automation or automated processes. So I'm curious about how it would be in the future when we can do many of these things with our phones or from somewhere else, not in the office, not in the plant floor, but with our phones or tablets. And we have done some applications, but I think it's still young days for this. So I'm very curious of how it will be in the future.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's my opinion.
Yeah. Such a beautiful point you've made about role models. I think we need more representation for women in this industry in STM. That's a very good point. And let me just end this with just a conclusion that I've got from actually each and every one of you said this. Like even though we have this kind of societal issue to say so, where we're still pushing kids into gender roles since from a very young age. You've all mentioned this idea of choice, of agency each of us has in their own life to make their own choices, to own their own path, and just go for whatever you want, for your passion, for whatever makes your heart and mind happy to say so. And I love that each and every one of you said variations of this, and it's just again a signal for me that I'm in the right team, and it's just awesome. I'm gonna shut up because if I start talking about this, I will never shut up. But I want to thank you very much for doing this with me. I think we've done some amazing work here. We've had some amazing conversations, and yeah, thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.